Issue 71. Charmy tells Sonic that he's cuter in blue, and Sonic tells him to shut up. Then Sonic sees an explosion near Kintobor, which was what had given the past him his super speed, except not really, because he tried to have us believe that he was fast to begin with, but he was faster after that. Predictably, from the end of the previous issue, Sonic has to make Eggman evil himself. I really don't see why the rotten egg was needed to make Eggman, because the machine was already unstable with the emeralds in it. What, could the emeralds smell the egg and had a tantrum because of it? The machine already contained most of the world's evil. It would have exploded and made Kintobor evil anyways. I mean, I guess they thought this was a brilliant twist, but it's just depressing and unnecessary. Sonic says that this is the worst day of his life, while having his hand on his head. And Porker's line after this about the Mentalics trying to destroy Kintobor, which they didn't try, they could have easily destroyed him before, makes me wonder something else. Why did the Mentalics just destroy Kintobor, or make it so that he was never born? Sonic could have stopped an attack on Kintobor's baby, which would have been more heroic looking than the writer forcing him to be responsible for Eggman's creation. The story ends with Sonic warping to Eggman with the Omnivore. I'm guessing that he won't arrest him either, even though he could just warp him to a cage with the Omnivore, because he needs Eggman to stop the Mentalics in the present day, I guess. Again, why couldn't Kintobor do this? What about him being Eggman would magically make him such a better engineer? Isn't it Grimer's doing all the engineering anyways? Why? Eggman usually doesn't even do anything when he teams up with Sonic. He just stands there, tells him to do something, and then Sonic does all the dirty work for him, like in the first Zone of Silence story. In the next story, after Knuckles is accused of lying by the spirit about the echidnas only accidentally causing the species' destruction, the bones start moving around Knuckles to crush him in a cage. Knuckles drills into the ground to escape the cage, and unsurprisingly, he can't hurt the spirit because it's a ghost. Then he says that the spirit can't interact with him either, and after he gets an emerald, which he calls raw for some reason, he almost gets attacked by one of the spirit's bony pals, who he inexplicably forgot about after almost being crushed by moving bones. So that was weird. He complains that the Spare Master Emeralds are a lot harder to dig up than they look. Spare Master Emeralds. This is comedic. For some reason, the spirit outright tells Knuckles that the soul crystals what keeps him alive. Why would he tell him that? Why would he even tell him what the crystal's named? Because plot, that's why. The writer needed to hand the villain the idiot ball so Knuckles could win. It would have been more natural if Knuckles just destroyed it by accident while he was fighting the bone monsters. And because padding, Knuckles doesn't immediately end the story arc by destroying the crystal and escaping, but instead wastes precious panels talking and reiterating the obvious. In the next story, Johnny fights a few badniks, realizes that he needs a plan, and could trick the badniks into helping him, and he clears the area of people while successfully relying on the badniks to miss with all of their lasers and destroy the cotton factory. A good thing too, because that could have gotten dark. However, Brutus then just walks right up to him and gets his knowledge with the scanner anyways, but I was hoping the explosion of the factory would at least leave Brutus in need of repairs. The story ends with Brutus telling his forces to attack Mushroom Valley immediately. The first two stories are by Nitro Kitchen, and I knew where the first one was going the minute I saw the end of the previous story in the arc, meaning the entirety of this story felt like a waste of time because it was the most predictable story yet. I really hate how they had to make Sonic create Eggman as we know him. It was totally unnecessary and depressing. It was like adding another convolution to the backstory. Basically, by making Eggman evil to stop the Mentalics, Sonic becomes responsible for everything bad that Eggman will do afterwards, which could really hurt his reputation if people found out about that, making him almost as bad as Eggman, no matter what his excuse was. The planet being separate from Mobius' time really comes out of nowhere, especially since Porker was there for a month of Mobius' time, and so were Amy and Sonic. And they didn't experience any more or less time over there. Porker was there for a month, he experienced a month, and Sonic was separated from Porker from a month from his perspective. Same passage of time. And the second story has Knuckles stop just short of destroying the Spirit's Soul Crystal because they wanted to pad out the story arc for one more story, when it could have easily just ended right there. Knuckles being repeatedly accused and threatened by bony rhinos got old fast, and it's still going on. When it wore out its welcome, it didn't offer much variety in what was going on. And the third story by Lou Stringer, it at least had Johnny be competent alone by cleverly getting the cotton factory destroyed by luring the badniks to destroy it with their lasers, but he was very lucky they did miss him and the villagers. And he just gets his memory stolen by Brutus anyways, which puts Mushroom Valley in danger.